G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Yes, we are going to do something a little bit different here today. I am going to be reviewing a sports documentary. Yes, it's not something that I do on this channel, so if it's bad, I'm sorry. But yeah, a lot of you guys has been telling me that I should watch this, and one of you amazing South Africans has offered me his Super Sport login to watch this, and boy, this was amazing, actually. I was blown away by how good this was. I mean, obviously, reliving through the Springboks journey to win the Rugby World Cup brought back a lot of great memories for me, a lot of great joy for the Rugby World Cup watching the Springboks. And this has taken that to the next level, revealing a lot of the, behind the scenes, a lot of the players' journey, a lot of struggle between the players off the field. And, unlike the Lions Tour documentary, where it's just 2 hours of the coaches yelling at the players, right? This documentary actually revealed a lot of the intricate thoughts and process that the coaches went through to get the players where they want them to be to win every step the way to win the Rugby World Cup. And I was blown away by how much they reviewed from the Springbok camp and just how interesting it was to see, some of the psychology that Rassie Erasmus played on and off the field. Yes, so this documentary started off. I started in episode 3, by the way. So this is episode 3 review. I'll go back to episode 1 and 2 if you guys like this. But I started episode 3, and immediately at the start of the episode, as you would expect from all sports documentaries, it was Rassie Erasmus, the coaches, having a bit of an angry spiel to the players. The team had just lost Ireland, and Rassie Erasmus was talking about the body language of the players are not good. Not everyone is showing confidence in his eyes. And to bolster everybody's confidence, he has decided that they still have one more game to go before the quarterfinals against France. He had decided to announce half the team to be playing in the quarterfinals before the Tongans match. Yes, this already started to show the absolute genius that is Rassie Erasmus and how good he is at understanding the psychology of the players. He recognized that some of the players are not mentally, right, in the hungry mode and mentally too complacent in the Rugby World Cup. He even said very blatantly to the players that your head is getting bigger than your abilities right in front of everyone. And keep in mind, these players are World Cup winners in 2019. And he just said it straight to everybody's face. Your abilities your head is getting too big. It's getting bigger than your abilities. And boy, you should see the faces in all these players. And then he followed on, like I said, to announce half the team, including Bongi Bunabi, Achis Neyman, Faf de Klerk, I think, and then I think there was maybe 1 or 2 other players, and he just announced like half the team, and then said, "You guys are ready. You don't have to worry about playing Tonga. You guys are gonna be playing in the quarterfinals already. You can start your preparation for that." And boy, the big names, the big egos, Dwayne Vermeulen, Siya Khaleesi, the captain, Ibn Etzebeth, they're all just like baffled that they're not getting a break. Come on, I should be getting a break, right? Rassie, am I supposed to be getting a break? Am I not in the quarterfinals? And that really has lit like a fire back into these big name players and really made them fight to get themselves a spot. Make them realize that their spot in the quarterfinal is not guaranteed, and made them really had to fight for that. And they went on to talk about the ego that I just mentioned. Dwayne, Eben, and Siya Khaleesi, how they have a sort of an ego clash at the moment. Everybody's kind of like, Dwayne is like the senior guy. Eben and Siya are like the younger guys who sort of like taking over the leadership roles. And there's a bit of a clash of leadership in that group. And, how, Rassie Erasmus just told the boys, "You guys sort this out. I don't care what you guys have to do, but I don't want to see anybody disagreeing with each other in front of the other boys, right? I don't want your personal issues to affect everybody else in the team." And he made that really, really clear. as well, and just managing these big egos. And this is something that a lot of coaches struggle. So sometimes players do get too big, and they're like, "I'm bigger than the team. I don't, my spot is guaranteed. The team can't live without me." And this clashes in the team, and it's already starting to show that there's fracture inside the Springbok team. Something that we really didn't know. Everybody assumed that everybody was best friends in the team, but the documentary revealed that there's fracture in the team that Rassie has to kind of like manage. Further on, further on, they went on to talk about the game plan against the Tongans, and the first and foremost is to present Handré Pollard onto the field, and how they wanted to see whether or not Handré Pollard will play a piece of the puzzle into the tournament further down the road, because obviously the kicking has been an ongoing issue for the Springboks. They have tried a number of different kickers at this point. The Faf de Klerk, obviously Man in the Bok, and I think they had Chesney Kobe may or may not have taken a kick at this point. This is from my memory. And they wanted to see if Handré Pollard can really solve that problem. And that's something they like meticulously talk about in a meeting in leading into this Tongan match. And then just before the match, there was a clip of the Rassie Erasmus talk before the game. And he literally said, this match, give us the body language today so that the French starts cucking themselves. Now, I don't speak Afrikaans. I assume cucking themselves means, worried for themselves, right? So he's already made it very clear. That's like one of the best, craziest speech before the game. He's already making it clear for the team that they wanted to show a statement. They wanted to really, not just a statement for themselves to get the spot in the team, right? It's a statement to the French that they're going to be coming and they're going to bring something special into the quarterfinals, and also that bolsters the morale of everybody. And then the documentary went on to go through everything that happened in the game. One of the big things that happened during the game was Makazole Mapimpi getting fractured a cheek or getting hit in the head. As I remember, that didn't talk about it in the documentary because obviously they want to focus on the players. I remember this was not even a yellow card. I'm pretty sure it was not a yellow card. It was considered an accident, even though it was put Mapimpi completely out of the tournament. It showed a lot of disappointment in Mapimpi's face, and how he had to just deal with it. It just happens. It's just part of rugby, and the disappointment you can see it in his eyes is overwhelming. And then after this, the team won the game. There was a lot of happy, everybody's enjoy, and then immediately after the game, the following week, they had a week off essentially before they had to play France. And then it was just preparation for the French game. And there was like a shot of them in the meeting, and it was just like every little detail being meticulously, scrutinized of the French play style. And they had the analysts, the coaching staff. What was his name? Felix Jones. Is that his name? Not Felix Jones. What's his name? They had all the coaching staff sitting there watching replay. They dug up old footage of the French playing. They dug up footages of French in their training camps, and they just went over everything they tried to do. They went over their attack pattern. They looked at how they like to just cascade. I think they talked about how they wanted to just steamroll with speed, with cascade, and then try to spread ball wide for that space, and then just all about how they are looking at working out a way to deal with that attack style from the French team. And and then they went on to talk about how the French, obviously the backstory of the French team, and all the commentary. I thought was very interesting. The commentary from the Irish was very downplaying on the Springboks at this point. I didn't know. I didn't watch the Irish commentary or any commentary really outside of basically reading the stuff from. I don't watch any of the pundits, especially from Ireland. But apparently the Irish commentary was just bashing, completely counting out the Springboks and saying that French is going to easily walk over the Springboks, and the Springboks do not want to play the French. And I thought it was really, really, really misinformed when I heard that, because nowhere in my if you can go back and watch my assessment of the team on my channel, at no point did I feel like the Springboks was that big of an underdog that they have no chance of beating the French, as the Irish commentary was making it sound like it was to be. I thought it was going to be a close match, and I thought the Springboks, if it wasn't in France, Springboks could have easily won the game. In France, I thought Springboks, in fact, I did predict the Springboks winning the World Cup, but yeah, I thought Springboks was still going to beat, they still had enough to beat the French team. I didn't think it was that big of a gap, as Sir Woodward, quoting from Sir Woodward in that regard. But yeah, I thought it was really, I don't know if they maybe they obviously, yeah, I don't know I don't know why there was just so negative towards the Springboks there. But I didn't, like, at the time, I didn't think that was that big of a underdog for the Springboks, to be honest. And then they went on to talk about some real life issues with Dion Fourie, and this kind of really like hit me a little bit. Got a bit teary from this part. Dion Fourie, obviously, he worked his whole life to get to this Rugby World Cup. He debuted for the Springboks at 35 years of age, I think 35, 36, and he was like 37, pretty much at the end of his career. And if he didn't go to the World Cup here, this will be it. Like, he will never have another chance. And this is all his entire, every rugby player, their entire life stream is to play at the Rugby World Cup. And you can only pray to the heavens above that you have a chance to win it. And this is everything to Dion Fourie. And he's, considering that, what's his name? Malcolm Marx was injured. This is his prime opportunity to basically win the Rugby World Cup as a starting player, or as a player, in the 23, starting 23, for him, in his family. And, he got the news just in this game. This is the biggest game of his life against French, that his dad is having kidney problems and he's going to go through an operation where he had a 50-50 chance to survive. Boy, it must be really difficult news. His mum almost didn't want to tell him, but, because she didn't want to affect him with such a big game coming up. But Dion had called his dad. He was really found the guts to call his dad, because if he felt like could be the last time he's ever going to speak to his dad again. And yeah, I was very emotional, and I was a bit, moved by that. And I thought, man, would have been so tough. Luckily, his dad survived the operation, and he was able to move on. But man, it was quite touching there. And then the show moved on to talk about Kurdi Arensat and his rise to the Springboks. And it really made me kind of forget how difficult life is in South Africa as well with this. So Arensat was just a nobody coming through, and he tried to get into a professional contract after he finished high school, and he wasn't able to, and he had to go work in a meat factory. Yeah, I mean, in Australia, if you play rugby, if you don't make it a team, you just go on to play university. You just go on to university. And if you do play rugby after rugby as well, you just go get a job in you generally be able to get a job, go to university and get a job in like accountancy firm or something, investment bank or something, generally. Yeah, and then to see, him going, like meat packing factory is really humbling to see that that he come from such a difficult background. It's different here in Australia because everybody plays rugby as like private school kids. Yeah, so very different, and really like it's like it really shows like what sort of privilege that I have in my life, and a lot of the players that in Australia that don't have to deal with this sort of stuff. So that was quite moving as well. And then they went on to talk about the game plan. And the team apparently has identified, so they have this video simulator where everybody is able to control their own player on the field. And then through the simulations that everybody playing, they figured out there was a crossfield kick that was possible to set up for a try. So they made the call named purple. So they looked at that in the paper, and then they said they're going to try this in the game, and the move is going to be called purple, which is going to be a crossfield kick. And after this, they after this, obviously they do all this practice, they do all these lineouts, and it's typical Rassie Erasmus fashion. They're, I mean, with someone with when you were so meticulous on detail. It actually didn't surprise me that much that he was paranoid that some of the, security cameras could be taking footage of the team and then trying to leak that information to outsiders. So they try to like cover up the security cameras with shirts when they were doing the line out drills. I don't blame them. I think that's, personally, I would never think of that. But knowing that Rassi Rasmus, knowing that the coaching staff are so competitive and so, like I said, meticulous on the details, it is actually quite understandable that they're a bit paranoid that security footage could be leaked to the opposition's advantage. Yeah, so they try to cover the cameras up when they were doing these lineouts, and then, and then they went to France, and the big stage is set, all the fans were chanting, and then it cut up. The documentary cut back to the training camp. Apparently, as the master psychologist, Rassi Erasmus decided to play the stadium anthem, the French national anthem that was sung at the stadium on repeat to the players during training, and it was just like all the players were just like sick and tired of listening to it, and they're all just like annoyed at it during training. And that was how Rassi prepared the players for the overwhelming anthems and all the singing and all the chanting in the live game from the French fans. And that's how he got everyone like mentally ready for that. I mean, this is just absolutely genius at work right there. I did not think that, anybody, yeah, I did not think anybody would come up with something like that to get their team ready. So all the players went out there and they're all just looking like they're bored already, listening to the French national anthem again, just before the kickoff. And, whilst the game is happening, everybody's all the chanting and stuff, nobody seems to be affected at all. Worked like a charm. And then the video went on to go through the first half of the greatest rugby game that's probably ever played. And, a lot of controversy happened in the first half. There was the knockback by Eben Etzebeth. Apparently, Eben didn't even think it was gonna be a knockback. I thought he knew what he was doing, but apparently Eben was like, luckily it went back. He didn't even expect, he didn't even have that on his mind when it was happening. And there was obviously the most infamous scrum in the world of rugby. Damien Willems, the greatest Springbok in history of the Springboks, calling a scrum inside the 22 after catching a mark, right? And then it was like everybody in the world thought it was crazy. I thought it was a bit crazy. Because I knew the Springboks was a pretty strong scrum. I thought it was crazy. And then the scrum coach from the Springboks, I actually don't know his name, but I recognize his face, but I actually don't know his name. God, I think I should know his name, but I reckon, yeah. Anyway, someone will tell me what his name is. The South African guy. And he was just like, and he made the really, he made it really clear that it's only a risk if you haven't worked hard enough. And I was like, wow, that was just like a light bulb going off my head. Yes, you're right. It's only a risk if you don't work hard enough. It doesn't matter what the scrum is on the field. If you worked hard enough, you shouldn't lose your own scrum feed. And if you work hard enough, you are going to get the penalty that you're looking for. So it's not a risk at all. And if you know what you're doing, and it was exactly right. And that was the confidence that the Springboks loved. And, and they went for the scrum, they got the penalty. And boy, just before halftime, Eben Etzebeth got sent over the yellow card, head-on-head collision with Uni Antonio. And halftime, all the South Africans were screaming, fight, wild fucking dogs. What does that mean? Wild fucking dogs, like play like wild fucking dogs or something? And I was surprised how relaxed Rassi Rasmus looked during the halftime. He was sitting there on the table, like swinging his legs around. He looked so relaxed, and he was just like, it's 40 minutes away from 2 more games to the end of to win the Rugby World Cup again. And I was like, man, I can't believe how relaxed he looked. And he just showed the confidence. Keep in mind, this is when Eben Etzebeth's still off the field with the yellow card. I mean, I would be like pissing myself if I was there. But I mean, I think it's the psychology, the sports psychology. You're the leader. You're the alpha dog, right? Rassi's the alpha dog. Former Springbok, open side flanker. He knew what it's like to play in the Rugby World Cup semi-final against the Wallabies in 1999. And he knows that if the players see you panicking and stressing, they're going to panic and stress. And that's not what you want from the players. So he was just sitting there on the table, right? Like this, right? Like swinging his legs around, like, yeah, boys, yeah, just do, tackle, make sure you tackle, you grab the ball, like really relaxed. Like you can see from his body language, he's just like, yep, Yep. All right, boys, let's get ready to the second half, right? Like, I mean, that's just, I'm sure it's not just, he knows exactly why he had to do that. He knew exactly how to put his team in the right mindset, and that was the difference, man. And that's where the documentary ended for episode 3. So we don't even know if the Springboks won or lost against the French. I guess there could be one more episode, right? And that was it. Next episode could be the Springboks losing to the French and they pack their bags and went home. And that was next episode could be the last episode, guys. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And that's it. That's the review. 20 minutes. I didn't expect it to be that long. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And see you later. I'll see you guys tomorrow, maybe the day after, for the rugby news. Cheers.